call this meeting to order. This is our Monday, March the 9th meeting of the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. If you would, let's stand and have the invocation. Reverend Nutter, and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. With your permission for my prayer tonight, I would like to just read a section of scripture that I think is applicable to the meeting, but also to the current situation as we're in war in the Middle East. And from Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, in the house of the God of Jacob. He will teach us his ways, so that we may walk in his paths. The Lord will go out from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He will judge between the nations and will settle disputes for many peoples. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not take up sword against nation, for they will train, nor will they train for war anymore. Come, O house of Jacob, let us walk in the light of the Lord." May the Lord richly bless us. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
So our first item on the agenda is always commendations, proclamations, awards, special presentations. We have honorary alderman tonight, but one of the gentlemen is running a little bit late, so we're just going to postpone that to whenever he arrives, and we'll catch that in just a moment. So that brings us to comments from citizens. So far, the only person we have signed up is Mitch Davis. Mitch? Is he not here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Mitch.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and everybody. Just wanted to bring something up to speed with you. I've been working with Dr. Bard from the Tullahoma Airport Authority. We've had several meetings. We brought some really good things to the table as far as the steering committee goes and helping reduce costs and even potentially pay back money regarding the spill. We talked about maintenance fees and a couple of other items that could be discussed, within the board. I just wanted to let you know that if you push through with the steering committee and get it up and rolling, I think it's a really good path because the 4 hours we spent together, we made a lot of progress. We covered a lot of items that had never been looked at from different perspectives. So, everything from payment for leases, finances, making sure the city gets their money, other options to make the airport a little more profitable. So we made good progress with that. Just wanted to give you a heads up. And again, steering committee is, it's almost ready to go full speed ahead once a membership list is assembled or established. And just wanted to let you know about that.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Any other comments from citizens? If not, that brings us to reports from the alderman. I'll start with Mr. Toma.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to report on. I did have reason why I did not make the last meeting was as a result of attending a.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. No, you go ahead and finish yours. I messed up on approval of the agenda. I skipped it by accident. You want to, let's do that first.
I don't mind quitting
Let's
if
do,
you
yeah.
want me to.
Thank you, Kurt.
But had the opportunity to go as a representative of the Tullahoma Utility Authority to Washington for their legislative meet and greet with our congresspeople. We met with Congressman Desjardins, and it was a personal meeting, which the times that I have been able to attend certain of these, sometimes you don't get an opportunity to talk to the actual legislator. Some of the things that we've discussed before but reflect is the consumption of energy associated with AI. There has been some consideration for a AI facility on Air Force property. In my understanding, we may be in the top 2 or 3 of those potentials. Be as it may, fortunately something along that line, the expenses and so forth are absorbed by the person or entity that's providing it. It is something that you always need to be concerned with, because some of these options are only available where the provider is expecting the utilities and so forth to furnish their needs. Other than that, I tried to put in a plug for funding in regards to where we stand with the possibility of in regards to roads. And apparently there is some federal money, and I will continue to pursue that. Other than that, I appreciate you letting me give a little spiel.
Thank you. So our other honorary alderman has arrived, and so let's jump and do that, and then we'll come back and catch approval of the agenda and do things in the right order that I skipped on the first time. So, gentlemen, will join me up here. Honorary Alderman Edward Henry.
You got a ripple? I don't need it.
And then Everett Tinsley.
Lori's gonna talk for me. You're gonna give a report.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Let me get one more. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
Say a few words about yourselves and what you do at the high school.
Good evening. My name is Edward Henry, and I'm currently a junior at Tullahoma High School. My involvements range from being in the symphonic high school band to being a state-level leader for FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. Interestingly, on Thursday, I'm being recognized at the state house, or at the state capitol building, for my achievements and 2 other achievements of students at Tullahoma High School in Future Business Leaders of America. Especially with the summer, we placed on the national level, making history in the state of Tennessee and at Tullahoma High School. And then also on Wednesday, the Tullahoma Symphonic Band, we are traveling to MTSU to perform at the concert performance assessment. I'm excited for that. It's always a fun experience to just kind of have a stressful time, but then realize that all this work we've done actually has a capstone and that it is worth it. That's pretty much about me and what I am doing right now.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Congratulations.
My name's Everett Tinsley. I'm currently a high school at the Tullahoma High School. I'm a part of the symphonic band as well. So yeah, we're going up to MTSU this Wednesday to perform at CPA. I'm also a member of the Tullahoma cross country team. I plan for college to go to Montlaw at least for a year or 2. And then I plan to major in architecture and see where it goes from there. Thank you.
Thank you. So that brings us to our approval of our agenda. I have one item I would like to add to the agenda. There is currently a bit of a sewer crisis at South Jackson, and so that's, Greg's gonna come up here and tell us about it if we put it on the agenda, but if we could add an item to address, they're gonna need some funding for that, to fix the sewer problem at South Jackson. Can we add that at the beginning of new business? Or is that, but if we give it, we'll make it number 18, but can we take number 18 out of order, just so we don't make them sit here all night? All right, so 18, somebody want to make a motion? I made a motion on that. Can we do, let's do a second vote. So we have a second, and unless there's any just, South Jackson sewer pipe issue. South Jackson Performing Arts Center sewer pipe. So let's vote on that. And that's 7 yes. So any other changes to the agenda?
I'd like to ask to remove one item,
Okay,
and that is number 12 on the list, which is item number 2629. The appointment of, reappointment of 2 airport commissioners.
is there a second for that motion? Okay, there's a
I'll
second.
second it.
So what's the purpose of removing them?
I think it's a little premature right now. I think we're just now getting into working with the airport. We've got an item on the study session tonight to talk about the airport, and with everything that's gone on, I don't want to make a judgment on these people. I don't know enough about it right now. So, I think it'd be premature to reappoint them. Unlike the Planning Commission, according to the ordinance that creates the airport authority, these members are allowed to serve until they're replaced. So these men could continue to serve in these positions until we do arrive at a time to reappoint them. But I think it'd be premature right now until we delve a little bit more into the problems at the airport.
Is that correct that these members can serve until reappointed?
That is correct.
That is correct. Okay.
That's interesting.
I do have a concern that if we don't, as long as they can keep serving, I guess that helps, because right now they're in crisis of not having a quorum or a treasurer or anything if they do not have members to stay on the board. So we do not want to enter into that situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have a copy of the ordinance right here if,
I believe you. Just double checking.
Well,
Any other comments?
I just wanted to leave this on the agenda so we could have a little bit more in-depth discussion once we get to it. I didn't think this would be the right time to go in-depth on this item. I just wanted to say I would like it left on the agenda so we can have that discussion.
yeah, the only reason that I've thought it would be more appropriate to leave it off, because I didn't want to make it seem as if we were making a judgment on them, on the two people that you're talking about reappointing. I'm taking it off because I do not want to make any judgments upon them. And that's why I think it'd be inappropriate to talk about it and vote on it at this time.
Any other discussion? All right, if not, let's vote.
We're voting to take it off.
So a yes vote means taking it off the agenda. No vote means leave it on the agenda. So that carries 4-3. So that motion, that is removed from the agenda. All right, any other adjustments to the agenda? Not, let's vote on the full agenda. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, we're blocked.
All right. Motion carries 7-0. So that's approval of our agenda. Back to our reports from Alderman. Alderman Glick.
I have no report, Mayor.
Coach Mathis?
I have no report,
No
sir.
report. Ms. McGee?
I don't have a report.
Ms. Wilson?
Thanks, Mayor. I attended the Tennessee Municipal League conference that was held on March 2nd, where we received updates on several issues affecting municipalities across the state. One of the major topics was Tennessee's continued population growth, with more than 63,000 new residents moving to the state in the past year, which is increasing demand on infrastructure and local services. There was also discussion about the growing gap in long-term funding for roads and bridges due to rising construction costs and inflation. The state is currently studying sustainable funding options, with a report expected in 2027. The Comptroller's Office also provided updates on municipal budgeting requirements, financial oversight, and upcoming changes related to state shared tax distributions. In addition, several pieces of legislation being considered this year could impact municipalities, including proposals related to property taxes, municipal elections, zoning authority, and housing regulations. Overall, the conference provided useful insight into policy trends and financial guidance that will affect cities across Tennessee.
Thank you.
That's all.
Mr. Byrd?
No report, thank you.
No report. Brings us to the mayor's report. The only thing I have to report on, just two small things, is last 2 weeks, it's been a great joy to go to all the elementary schools and a group of our homeschooling students here in Tullahoma and present awards for the What I Love About Tullahoma contest that happens every year with all our elementary students. And our Mayor's Youth Council judged all those, and I don't know how you guys did that. How many were there? Probably 1,500 or something like that. There's 350 kids in each elementary roughly, so that's 1,400, 1,500 applications, and they judged all those somehow and picked a winner from every grade at each school, boy and girl. And those are just great fun to present, and it really means a lot to some of those kids. And I think Lyle Russell has posted those on our social, is Lyle sitting over there? There he is. He has posted those on our social media. So if you haven't seen some of those, I would encourage you to go look at them. They're really quite enjoyable. The other item I have is that regarding the airport steering committee. The airport steering committee is going to be a committee appointed by the mayor. The mayor has power to appoint special committees, and I'll be doing that. I have about 5 or 6 people committed now, and I'm looking for about 2 or 3 more, and I'm waiting to hear back on some. So in the next week, hopefully, we'll have that committee up and running, and we'll look forward to everybody's input to that committee. We'll be skipping report from the city administrator this evening, and that brings us to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda? So motion and second, let's vote. That motion carries 7-0. That brings us to unfinished business. Ordinance number 1675, item 3, an ordinance to adopt the 2045 comprehensive plan for passage on the second and final reading. Mr. Glick pointed out to me by email today that we kind of discussed last time about maybe making some recommendations back and having that discussion this evening. So perhaps rather than voting on this, we're going to pass some recommendations back to board mayor and back to the planning commission. Keep in mind that we do not have authority to order the planning commission to change the plan, but it can't pass without our vote, so we can give them feedback and maybe we can get some points. Mr. Glick, did you have some suggestions you wanted to suggest to introduce?
I had 2 items that I wanted that the planning commission removed one of them, and I think the director of planning might have removed the other. I'm not sure. But the one that I would like that I make a motion to add back to the plan is
You're making a motion to recommend it to the planning commission.
right. Yeah. I would assume all the
I think we will.
if each one of us, if we have a couple of items that we'd like to add back, we make a motion. This is the way I'm assuming it's going.
I think it's a motion.
We make
to
a
recommend.
motion and then to recommend them to add it back to the plan, and we vote on it. If it fails, we don't recommend it. If it passes, then we recommend it. So,
I agree.
okay. The one I'd like to add back is to require on low-density single-family and medium-density single-family homes in those land use areas to have garages and driveways. Dwellings should have off-street parking consisting of a concrete or asphalt driveway if less than 150 feet from the center line of the road, with a garage or carport to be located on the lot to which is intended to serve. Driveways with a length in excess of 150 feet from center line of the road may be gravel, but shall have a 25-foot minimum concrete apron from the curb to the beginning of the gravel section. And that is for low-density single-family homes and low-density medium-density homes. And the reason for this is just to upgrade a little bit the minimum house in Tullahoma. And I think it would really help the aesthetics of the town and just kind of lift us up a little bit. I think, I know arguments in the past have been that it would make houses too expensive, but I don't think that's correct. If you look at the economics of it, the market really kind of dictates the price of the lowest price of the home. So if that was the minimum available out there, then that's going to be the lowest price, and it would be the current low price now. Because the market dictates that price. I'm sure the builders building the houses are maximizing their profit, or they're maximizing the amount of money that they could get for each house. So, and that won't change, but what pushes the price down is what they're able to sell it for. So, and that's what I mean by the market would dictate the price. So I don't think it would make the houses any more expensive than now. And everybody, even the people buying the smallest, most inexpensive houses in Tullahoma, still deserve a garage and a driveway. So I would like to see us add that back in.
Do you have that written up on your computer?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, right here. It's with some other stuff, but I can give it to you
Yeah.
and you can.
Any other comments? Samuel, I'll get to you in just a moment. Any comments to that? So I have one comment. It is just economically incorrect that raising the cost of construction of a home will not result in an increase in the price of the homes. If that's not the case, then why don't we require them to have a 3-car garage? Or why don't we require them to have full sidewalks, and why don't we require them to have fountains and trees? Why don't we just require anything we want? Because obviously at some point, as you start adding requirements to the construction cost of the house, the price of the house will go up. It's not reasonable to assume that builders will just voluntarily take a smaller profit margin. That's just not how that works. They're gonna go the next town over and build that same house instead of building it in Tullahoma. It's just, if we want to upgrade the looks of the house, I understand that. Everybody would like that. But the reality is, it will increase the cost of homes, especially at the lower price points. And then on top of that, if you talk about market forces, well, then let the market forces decide that. If people want a garage and they want a paved driveway, then they can be in the market for that. Any other comments? Mr. Luthi, did you have a comment?
Just briefly, you know, we had discussed this with the planning commission. The primary issue is we're requiring minimum standards beyond that from the IRC, International Residential Code. They could be seen as laborious and unfair, and it does violate Fair Housing Act. So that's why we remove those requirements. We run into the same issue with the discussion of having a minimum square footage, which is enforceable by an HOA or a deed restriction on the actual community or the neighborhood itself. But as a municipality, we cannot extend regulations onto the minimums requirements for these homes beyond what the building code requires. There's multiple case laws that went through in Nashville from MTAS, and I spoke to the MTAS representative that advised that removing those requirements would protect us from violating several state laws. So that's why we had removed those.
That's exactly opposite of what you told the CPDC when we were working on this plan.
That's exactly the same.
No, it's not. I was at those meetings. I know what you told us, and that's why we added it in.
I would like to advise that I was not involved with the CPDC. I didn't work here at the time.
Yes, you were. We had meetings with you.
I didn't work here.
You might be careful with what you say, because that's not true.
All right, let's try to tone this down a little bit. I believe Mr. Luthi came on board after the initial draft was done and maybe assisted in cleaning it up a little
He
bit.
did assist in it, and he's the one that advised us that this would be permissible to add this in here, and that's why we did.
Okay. Anything else from the members of the board?
Yeah, the whole concept, in my respect to this program, was that it was supposed to be an advisory plan, not a dictation to the board or what we are presently have in place. And if I'm wrong, I'd like to be corrected. I think some of the biggest comments that I've been having lately is people questioning what is being built in Tullahoma. And then the second question is, how do we address it? I know from at least from my brother-in-law that lives in Brentwood, they have been able to put in place certain provisions that have allowed them to maintain integrity of what they're trying to do within their community. And items such as what Alderman Click is offering may be an opportunity for us to give a little more guidance as to what we want. Just because Tullahoma provides or requires something like this, if a contractor wants to go to another community and build them, I don't think necessarily that's deflecting in what at least my position was, quality instead of quantity. And I'm still not defined what affordability is. Now, a lot of times you can have a home that's built for $100 a square foot that the contractors is charging $200. And if he's capable of getting that, then that's his right to do it. But I'm, again, first I'm a little confused if we adopt this. which we're apparently talking around, there's provisions in here that virtually, where I gather it, that we have to live by it. And I'm concerned about that. I had sent you a couple of requests, one of them being that this seemed to be heavily directed toward the downtown area. And I think that's a good thing, but our community is not just growing downtown. We need other avenues. We need to be addressing issues that, you know, what happens when North Jackson Street fills up all the way to the county line, and looking at options on the south side of town and on the west side of town in certain areas, and even in places on the east side of town on 55. So I'm not necessarily opposed to putting in certain items as Mr. Glick is recommending. I'm just wondering if they are actually, if we put them in here, are we going to be required to follow it? So where am I? You know, am I right, wrong?
So the comprehensive plan, you know, when the city makes actions or moves in a certain direction, it should be in alignment with the comprehensive plan. It doesn't need to follow the comprehensive plan exactly. It is not stating that, you know, by 2045 we'll have made these changes and done these developments. It's more so saying that this is the direction the city is looking to go for the next 20 years. And the decisions that we make and the policy changes that we make should reflect those goals. But that's what they are. They're goals. Does not mean that we have to 100% stick to our comprehensive plan. Where this would be, I don't want to say an issue, but where you would get some pushback for not following it is if we do designate, you know, a certain, you know, area for economic development, but then the city decides to, you know, not put any development into that area and move somewhere else. They will be asking, you know, we would be asked why that decision was made. However, you know, the comprehensive plan is a living document and it can be revised. So if at the time that it was written, development was seen or foreseen to go into a certain area, and then as, you know, time progresses, that development is seen better in a different area, the comprehensive plan can be revised to reflect those changes.
Well, here's a paragraph or a sentence in here that we were furnished. If the legislative body adopts the general regional plan in the form of an ordinance by the municipality, then any land use decisions thereafter made by the legislative body, the planning commission, or board zoning appeal with the board of zoning appeal is exercised, it is power on matters other than the variation must be considered within the general regional plan. That, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but that's virtually saying, man, we got to follow it.
But this is not an
No.
ordinance, is it?
Well, that's an ordinance. It says ordinance to adopt the
But it adopts the plan. but,
2045 comprehensive plan. So
That's
this
what
is an
the plan
ordinance
itself
that's being
is.
presented to us. Am I correct?
Maybe.
The statement that you just read generally applies to, and the item that you see the most is with our rezoning applications. What that entails is if an application for rezoning comes before you, the comprehensive plan shows that area as low-density residential, and somebody's requesting to rezone it as, I don't know, C1 commercial or industrial. That does not comply with our comprehensive plan, and that gives you, as the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, an easy way to deny those rezonings, because on the very foot of it does not fit with our comprehensive plan. That is a valid reason to deny it.
Well, if that's not spelled out in here, that's just an assumption as far as I'm concerned. I'm just saying, I'm trying to read through this, and I'm certainly not an attorney, but there's a lot of strong language that virtually states, as I stated, must be consistent with the general regional plan.
All
Hold on,
comprehensive.
wait. So Mr. Byrd was next. Mr. Byrd, didn't you?
No, I just wanted to make a comment about the original amendment. I agree with Mr. Luthi. I think this is something that would be better handled by HOAs making this decision, not the city as a whole making this. And I'd also like to ask, you included in there medium density. Would that also include townhomes, duplexes, things like that?
The current zoning ordinance that we have does include duplexes in medium density. Townhomes and attached units are a little more difficult to define. In my opinion, the townhome language that we currently have would place it in that medium density. But again, the townhome definition in our current zoning ordinance is quite loose.
Okay, yeah, and I just wanted to point out, it would be somewhat uncommon to see a garage or
It would.
carport there.
It's what it said. It's just
Hold on,
the
hold
air.
on, hold on.
I was answering.
But he didn't ask you to answer. Ms. McGee?
I just want to, my concern is the garages and the, what did you say about the gravel that the driveways should have
Well, it should,
asphalt?
if it's 150 feet from the center line of the road to
Okay.
the house, it should be asphalt or concrete. If it's more than 150 feet, it can be gravel, but it has to have a 25-foot concrete or asphalt area coming off the road
Okay.
to start into the gravel area.
I just want to speak on behalf of, there are so many people who would love to purchase their first home, but adding a garage and a asphalt driveway may not be in their budget. Coming from someone who was once there, I don't think that this, some of the things that's listed in this comprehensive plan is for all of the citizens in Tullahoma, because you do have some people that are just barely making it. So I don't think that that should be required. And I too thought that this was an advisory board and not something that could dictate how someone, and I get the garages are for, so there's not so much, stuff in the yard per se. But that's when we need to reach out to our codes department, correct? We can't tell, if someone doesn't want a garage, we can't make them get one. So, and asphalt is high versus gravel.
Ms. Wilson?
I'd
Um,
like to,
Hold
I
on,
would
Ms.
like to
Wilson.
just address
sorry.
that all comprehensive plans for every city, it's not to dictate exactly how you have to do everything. It is a guide and it's recommendation, that we should try to follow. However, I mean, when we sit in this legislative seat, we have to make decisions based on infrastructure that is either in place or not in place. Because, I am for smart growth. And if we do too much growth beyond what we're capable of handling infrastructure-wise, it's only going to pass off the tax burden on the existing citizens to pay for that stuff. So I do realize that we do need, housing that's, more obtainable for like first-time home buyers and people, to be able to move into their first home and things. But at the same time, it can't be the expense of passing the dollar onto our existing tax base. Because, when we have to pay millions of dollars for a new school and we have to, just upgrade, we're barely making our roads now. Like, we're barely able to pave our roads now. So when we get all of this extra traffic and we have to hire more police and we have to have more fire stations, and all of those things cost money that we don't have allocated right now. And so, to circle back, it is just a guide for us. Now, it's more important to the Planning Commission, things that are in here when they're making decisions. They have to follow, how things are zoned and things of that nature. But when we sit in this seat, we have to take into consideration our taxpayers and if they can afford all of this extra growth. And if our current homeowners that are barely making it, are they going to be able to absorb a 50-cent tax increase because of everything that those are all things that we have to take in consideration. But as far as this, the comprehensive plan, for us, it doesn't dictate, how we have to make decisions here in the seat.
Mr. Toma.
I apologize. I got ahead of myself. We had a item on the floor for Alderman Kurt, but I do appreciate your comment. I am very concerned about the absorption and the ability to pay. So,
just to answer Matt's question, it's for low density single family and medium density single family home. So it'd be medium density area, but only a single family home. It wouldn't affect the townhouse or apartment. You could build a single family home in a medium density area.
I don't know that our zoning splits it apart that way. I think it would be, and correct me if I'm wrong,
No,
Mr.
you can
Luthy,
have a single-family home with medium density.
but I believe that our zoning it would be zoned medium density. It wouldn't be medium density single family, correct?
Oh, the
Mr.
regulation that I was talking about would only affect the single family home in a low density area or a medium density area.
Okay.
It wouldn't affect the multiple units in a medium density area.
Mr. Luthy, can you describe quickly what's allowed in a medium density R2?
Yes, our medium density R2 permits single-family residences and duplexes.
Okay.
But those are two separate items. Each have their own lot requirements, size, and other requirements. So there is medium density single family and medium density duplex. Both of them are grouped under R2 medium density residential, but there are two distinct single family or duplex.
And
Go
if I could finish with my thought, that I think that it would just upgrade the housing that we had in Tullahoma to be able to offer that. And to answer your question, and what you're saying about the HOAs is correct, but that would only be for neighborhoods that have HOAs. A lot of these smaller homes that we see being put in are kind of infill homes that are like a lot that's been left over for a number of years, and then a little house pops in into that area, and that could pop in between two houses that have garages and driveways. And so we have no way to control it unless we just say they all have to.
Any other discussion?
I did just want to say that, I do believe that people deserve garages. And, it's also kind of a safety issue with how people, getting in and out onto the roads, with their driveways and things like that, to at least have a little concrete pad, that's to get them up into the driveway. And I have seen plenty of homes built, new construction homes built that are affordable with garages. And actually, even compared to ones that I've seen new construction homes built recently that don't have garages, that are very comparable in price.
So just a closing comment from me. It's easy to say homes with garage are affordable, but the question then becomes affordable for who? There's always some person, if the house costs more, that they have just been eliminated from buying the home. There are many people who can't afford even to buy a small home. There's somebody on the edge of that line. And if we move that line in the wrong direction, we're going to make it harder for those people to buy a home. I also am not quite sure I understand how this particular item relates to city growth. I don't think are we saying that if we do this, it'll make this town grow less? I think it would probably in some case, but in any case, I just think that we're going to make housing at that level more expensive for someone. I do share the concern that is there any way we can make our housing more attractive? And I don't think we've done enough work on that yet to understand that, but things that drive the cost of the home up a significant amount, I don't think are the right way to go. And that's my final comment.
Can I have one more comment, Mayor? That's kind of where the CPDC went on this when we were going around and trying to make things look more attractive. What Mr. Luthi did tell us also in that meeting was that we can't require architectural standards or visual standards for houses. We can't say they have to be brick or they have to, standards like that we can't require on housing. We can on commercial businesses, but not housing. That's why we thought that with the garages and driveways, that was permissible to require that, and that would be a step in the direction to improve the quality of the homes.
Anything else?
I had another comment.
One more.
My comments about the slow, steady growth didn't have anything per se to do with the with Kurt's motion. However, I was addressing some of the concerns others had in their comments during discussion. And also what I was saying about in recent new construction homes that I've seen houses that have no garage equivalent in price to houses that have garage is what I was saying too. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we need to get through this sometime tonight, so if there's no other comments of importance, let's vote on this one. So a yes means we will make a recommendation to the Planning Commission to put this requirement back in the comprehensive plan.
Yes
sorry.
means we will, to put it back.
Yes means we would tell them to put it back in. No means it would not be put back in. There would not be a requirement put in the comprehensive plan to require a garage and a driveway. 4 yes, 3 no. That motion carries. All right, next item.
The last item I have for consideration is, this is more due to what the Planning Commission would do. And for low density, single-family land use areas, zoning change request for areas in excess of 8 acres. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to put on my glasses.
Understand that.
Zoning change requests in excess of 8 acres and new development plats in excess of 30 parcels shall require an on-site inspection by the entire Planning Commission or an appointed commissioner. On-site inspections are not subject to the Tennessee Open Meetings Act or per TCA 8-44-102B2. In keeping with TOMA, any deliberation toward decision or decisions made regarding zoning or development plats will be undertaken at a publicly scheduled meeting subsequent to an on-site inspection as required. So what this is saying, that on larger rezoning applications of 8 acres or 30 parcels, it's just asking that the Planning Commission, or requiring that the Planning Commission go out there and make an on-site inspection of it, just to see that they're not just basing their decision on just looking at a map. I know very trained people, engineers and things like that, can really look at a map and they could tell you exactly what the area looks like, but I don't think everybody can actually do that. And sometimes I think just the on-site inspection, look at it over, see what houses are around, to see what things look like. I think on those larger areas, it just having that would make sure they're making the proper decision when it comes to voting on the
Could you read the language again on who's required to go?
It's for zoning change request. Who's required to go? And on-site inspection by the entire Planning Commission or an appointed commissioner. So not the entire Planning Commission. If they want to, if the Planning Commission wants to get together and appoint one person to go out there and give a visual check on it and then report back to the entire Planning Commission.
So I have a small concern there, because I thought I remembered in one of our trainings, they said they either didn't want you to do that or it wasn't proper for one commissioner to have information that others didn't. Although I've driven by before, and I
Right.
think everybody does that occasionally. Samuel, do you have any opinion about that?
When this was originally looked at, my primary concerns were one of scheduling. I know it can be difficult with everyone having their own, jobs and daily lives going on to require the planning commission to schedule a time with a developer to go out on the site. I personally do, for every subdivision and rezoning, visit the site multiple times, both meeting with the developer if they request it, but also to place signs, and primarily to also inspect the site to make sure that it's accurately represented. It helps myself with writing my reports to you if I go out and physically look at the site and not just take it at what I'm being told. With that being said, the other concern that I had was under that sunshine law and discussion, while it may not be an immediate violation to meet on the site, I am concerned that it puts the commissioners in an awkward situation where they have to heavily police their discussions to not have it get to the point where they may be discussing how they will or will not vote on an item. I personally, when I reviewed that, I didn't think it was appropriate to put that burden on the planning commission. It's a scheduling issue, and it's an Open Meetings Act issue. But I, as staff, do go out and have those abilities. Once an application is made, I am able to go out onto the property. And I look at every single property that comes through here, be it site plan or a subdivision or rezoning.
Okay. Any other comments?
I had one.
Ms. Wilson?
Yeah, I think that, we're not talking about every zoning request that comes before the planning commission. We're just talking about larger scale projects. And as good practice, I think that this would be good practice for the planning commission to look at what they're going to be voting on, especially for these larger zoning requests. And it's not a violation of sunshine laws to obtain facts about something or to be in the same place. It's only when you deliberate about an issue, if you deliberate on an issue that you'll be voting on. So it wouldn't be a violation. As a matter of fact, this board, we could all have go on retreats and everything else, and as long as that we didn't deliberate on anything that we were going to be voting on, that's no violation there.
Okay. I guess personally, I would be a little concerned that the developers wouldn't see it that way. If you voted against them, all of a sudden they would have a grounds to complain. But any other thoughts?
I don't have the wording here, but it is permissible according to Tennessee Code annotated 8-44-102B.
I do agree with that. Yeah. Planning commissioners do have the right to go and inspect properties.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Samuel?
Yep. The one other question that I had with this one is if we're intending for this meeting to take place
He's got
between
same
the
problem.
receipt of the application and the hearing by the planning commission. As it currently stands, the state of Tennessee has pretty strict timing on when I receive an application and is deemed complete to when it has to be heard by the planning commission. My other concern is that this puts us in an awkward situation where if, for whatever reason, a planning commissioner is not able to inspect the site before we are required to have it heard by the planning commission, I don't know where that would put us. If we are then requiring that this must be met and the inspection must take place before the application is deemed complete, that would remove it from complying with the timer. However, that does put the representative of the planning commission in a awkward situation where by them not being able to inspect a property, they could essentially postpone a request indefinitely.
All right. Any other comments? So it appears we're having issues with our voting system tablets. So I guess for now we're going to go to voice vote and raise your hands or whatever. So is that okay with you? You ready for that? So let's vote by show of hands. All in favor? All opposed? That's 4-3 opposed. So that one does not carry. Any other recommendations anyone wanted to send back to the Planning Commission? So if not, we'll consider that item completed and we'll move on to the next item. Ordinance number 1677, an ordinance to amend the
Mr.
zoning.
Mayor,
I'm sorry?
Did you vote on ordinance number 3?
we're not gonna vote on the ordinance. We just voted on recommendations back to the planning commission.
All right, so
But you're voting to send it back to the planning
Yes,
commission.
those,
With
the
those-
recommendation that passed, we
Alright,
will
the
send it back to the
recommendation.
planning
good.
commission.
We just had a quick.
And
Yes,
then
sir.
Next meeting, we should.
Next meeting, we should, hopefully be able to hear that.
Okay.
Planning commission meets next week, so we can take it up again. So Samuel, I think we're done with that. Oh, you're here for the other. Ordinance number 1677, ordinance to amend the zoning map to rezone a parcel located at 700 South Washington Street from light industrial to general commercial, passage on the second and final reading. Mr. Luthi?
Yeah,
wanna give us
this is a request to rezone the property that currently has a Skills Development Center on it. Skills Development Center building has been used as offices for several years. Skills Development Center has moved to a new building and would like to lease this building out. However, the current property's zoning is I-1 industrial. That being said, the current use of offices is legal nonconforming, it's grandfathered in. However, if the office remains vacant for more than 1 year, that legal nonconformity is removed. So the owner of the property would like it to be rezoned to C2 so that it could be used for offices, so that if a client to lease the building is not found within the next year, it does not lose that ability to be utilized for what it's intended for.
We have a motion second. Somebody want to make a motion? We're doing voice votes now until our tablets come back.
Make a motion.
I have a motion and a second. Motion from Alderman Byrd, second from Alderman Toma. You're right. All those in favor?
I was already voting.
Y'all opposed?
Thought you had a
Okay.
comment.
That motion carries 7-0. Oh, I'm
I was
sorry.
anxious. so-
Yeah, yeah. I thought you were just trying to second. All right. The next one, ordinance number 1678, ordinance to amend the zoning map as set forth in the code to rezone a parcel located at 1809 Old Estill Spring Road from light industrial I-1 to low-density residential R1 for passage on the second final reading. Mr. Luthi.
Yeah, this is a 6.5 acre portion on the northeastern side of the Tennessee Apparel property. They want to have that rezoned from I-1 to R1 so that it can be sold to the residential neighbor that abuts the property. He's looking to purchase this and add it on to his property. However, he'd like to make sure the rezoning goes through because he has no use for an industrially zoned piece of property, only for residentially zoned. The area is currently vacant and heavily wooded, and the applicant intends to keep it that way.
Any comments on that one?
Yeah, I guess my quick comment, I probably should have paid a little more attention. We seem to be gobbling up what limited light industry options that we have in this town. I know what that is. That's out there. It has been industrial use of that. Is there not any activity now as far as industrial?
The Tennessee Apparel Corporation is still using the property industrially. This is just a small strip along the top of their property.
It's actually all woods, right? It's
It is
never
all
been
wooded,
developed.
and
I would like to make a comment at some point.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's something that was my concern, and I brought that up to our TAEDC director. I didn't want to see a loss of industrial inventory, and she said that this is something that it is just the back portion of it. It's not going to really get into the industrial part of it. So that was my concern too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think on the last one, I
a good point.
Okay, answer
Any-
my question.
Any other questions? So let's vote then. Show of hands, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries 7-0.
We didn't have a motion.
I'm sorry. Can we get a motion on that?
Motion.
I thought somebody made a motion. So we have a motion, from Ms. Key, second from Alderman Glick. And if it's okay with y'all, we'll let that vote stand. All right. That brings us to new business, and we said we were going to bump this one to the top. So South Jackson Performing Arts Center sewer pipe issue. Greg, you want to, and Eric, both of you come up, and Greg, you can tell us what it's like inside the building. Eric can tell us what it's like outside the building.
Sure. The situation came about where we were having one issue in one bathroom with a hard-to-flush toilet. And over time, it has developed into more. We do have some sewage gas issues within that portion of the building, as well as the brand-new bathrooms that we just built now unusable because they believe it's all tied into this one line. This line was unbeknownst to anyone, TUA, Public Works, South Jackson, the school. No one knew it even existed. We thought that all the sewage went underneath the school building and went out to the main sewage area, but actually this goes the direction of the new parking lot that was just built on the site. So probably 80-plus year clay pipe that is just over time, I guess, collapsed. They are looking at that situation as to how to best address the situation. We had a meeting on Thursday maybe with Public Works and TUA and the Rogers Group and Drain Masters and everybody that's been involved in the situation, just to see where we were at on it, what we were looking at. Drain Masters does have the kind of technology that has been able to trace the pipe. We at least now know what direction it's going in, which was something new to everybody. And so we're at the point now that we just need to make a decision on how to further address it. It's probably going to take a little bit more homework to do to try to find that mapping out. And then from that mapping to make a decision on all that needs to be done in order to repair this situation. So, Eric.
Yes, as Greg said, we had a meeting last Thursday on site to make sure, to check. We had a job site, a parking lot that was built adjacent to this line. As Greg said, no one knew there was an 8-inch clay sewer line that was adjacent to the parking lot. And Drain Masters does have the best scope of work right now. We believe it'll be best for them to go in, camera the line, and right now it's not to exceed $5,000 to camera the line so they can get the information to bring back to the board to see what it's going to take to fix the line itself.
And then, I'm sorry, you had say that last part again.
Drain Masters does have the best economical approach right now to camera the line so they can see where the problem is, so they can get an idea what the fix is going to cost, so that can be brought back to the board.
So I think, Greg, in your letter you had from them that they indicated that they did not think it would exceed $30,000.
Yeah, the actual fix, the job to fix it, they do not believe will exceed 30,000. They said it would not exceed 30,000, but they had the technology to be able to do this without digging everything up and without disturbing the building, any of the new parking lot area and all of that. And so they did tell us today that it would not exceed 30. They're hoping, even the scope of mapping it, they believe that will be less than 5. But this is worst case scenario on mapping it and worst case scenario on fixing it.
So you think that's two separate numbers?
It is two separate numbers.
So I guess what they're looking for tonight is an authority to proceed for an amount no greater than 35, sounds like in total. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just wanted
sorry.
to say that, lay on the table, that's what
Let-
the issue is.
I assume that the city is responsible for that.
The city owns all that property.
Okay, so we own all the property, but, you know, do you all not have any reserve money for surprise situations like that could help?
Not $30,000.
No, but how much would you have?
I don't know. I mean, we could have went ahead with the scoping situation. But again, we've not known what was what until we got to this point. You know, it seemed awfully coincidental that it all kind of happened when it happened, and it happened when we started the work in the parking lot. And although we can't definitively say that this had anything to do with digging or vibrating or any of the stuff. It's an 80-year-old clay pipe that, you know, is maybe compromised, maybe not. So that's just kind of where we were at on it. So while we were approaching.
But I guess my comment was, when you come back, I would rather set this aside until we have an opportunity to find out what the actual cost would be. And also, I would like to know if you all have any contingency money that might be able to apply to this, because, you know, we've got a parking lot, put on a $30,000 roof. I'd be curious as to what may be available.
Okay.
Is that a fair question to ask?
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I think it needs to be fixed. Don't misunderstand me.
Ms. Wilson, if we were to have the city fund this, do you know where the funds would come out of?
I would suggest if the board was willing to pay the $5,000 to scope to get actual pricing, that we then tie it into the, where we did the parking lot, which came out of the bond fund money.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on that?
Would we be changing this motion to be just?
No, we don't
not to
actually have a
exceed?
motion yet. That's, we're just trying to get. so-
Okay.
Yeah, I think we do.
May I make a motion?
Is everybody back up on where they're voting?
And there's a
You know,
motion,
I'll
a motion and
be
a
willing to
second.
back off my second if Matt will, because I think he made a motion, I seconded it on.
Did Matthew make a motion?
I had made a motion when my tablet
Okay,
turned
well,
back
let's hear the
on.
motion then.
Right now, the motion reads discussion of South Jackson sewer repairs not to exceed 30,000.
Okay,
So I didn't know if that motion needed to change to be just the $5,000 scope of the lines.
I guess the question I had is, how critical is this and timeline? Can we wait 2 weeks or not?
I would suggest you definitely go and camera it, and that way we know where it is and what's going on. But if, you know, I haven't seen a not to exceed, but if Greg's got a not to exceed 30, you can definitely do that. But get the camera done, and then we know exactly where it is and what we're dealing with.
Greg, is this disrupting current operations?
Yeah, this current situation has probably been going on for about 6, maybe 7 weeks. The beginning of it, and we left the situation because we were kind of waiting for a punch list of items off of the parking lot, because it all kind of happened around that time, and it's taken this long to get to the point that we're at. The office itself doesn't have restrooms. We have to go to the other side to do that, which is, you know, it is what it is. But the areas that are being affected by, you know, sewage gas and stuff are regular rehearsal spaces and spaces that we're in on a daily or every other day basis. So I just think it's a hazard.
Ms. Wilson?
That's what I want to ask as well, is that, Greg, do y'all have anything coming up in the next couple weeks that, like an event or something that this would?
We just finished one show where we've had those new bathrooms closed off for the last 3 weeks, and that show was a 2-week show. So it was closed off during that time. Presented some problems, but it, you know, is what it is. But we do have, and we just had about 800 people in the building for Miss Tullahoma, which presented some major issues. But yes, in another week and a half, we have a show that would then run 2 weekends. And so, yeah, we do have several things going on at the time. So the timing is rough as it is, but, you know, it is what it is. So.
All right, so Mr. Glick.
Excuse me. Sue, where would you get this money?
From the bond fund money that we already did the parking lot from, we would just have to take it off of the contingency that's left for City Hall
But is there enough?
for 30,000, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Glick?
I think that we should go forward with a not to exceed 30,000. I don't think it makes much sense to have them scope it for 5,000, then come back and tell us it's going to cost it. We know it has to be done. If maybe as part of the motion, if we included something, if South Jackson had any money they can kick in, do it. But at this point, I think we just move forward with the project as is, not to exceed 30K. If it exceeds that, then they need to come back to us.
Yeah.
And, okay, so we're just getting a quote just from one company?
Yeah, the reason I believe that he had a quote from that company is they have capability where they can basically slip line the
Okay.
sewer line. That sewer line itself, we have found out, goes from 4 foot deep at the building to 14 foot deep at the manhole. So it would not be economically feasible to dig that
Gotcha,
line up. This will be the cheapest means and methods.
I have experience with that company too. They're very good.
Yeah, it really, you could call this a sole source job, but it definitely will be the most economical way to address it.
I would think that we need to move forward on this. I mean, especially if it's going to impact their operations, which it sounds like that it has and it will.
We did have 2 companies that wouldn't touch it, and one that we've already paid several $1,000s to that couldn't figure it out. So this is the 4th company actually that, and actually we were on Drain Master's waiting list while we went with all the others to try to figure something out, and then they ended up actually coming available, and we said, yeah, come on, please. So.
All right. there's no other discussion, then let's vote on, do we have a second? I don't see a second on that.
Well,
Well,
we need
are we
to
back to
mo-
electronic?
We need
Yeah.
to amend the motion if we're going to authorize
we
up to
said-
30,000, right?
I
Oh,
think
there
that's
it is,
what
never
already
mind.
said.
Yeah, it already
Okay.
says that, not to exceed 30,000. Let them go forward. All right. If there's no other discussion, let's vote and see if our voting actually works.
Mine isn't.
Oh, no.
Mine,
Yours locked up again? All right.
it's just,
We'll see if we get everybody else's.
it's not yes or no. It's just on. Oh, do I? I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. All right, that's 7 yes, so that'll carry on.
Hey,
Thank
it
you.
worked.
Thank you, Greg. It worked for us, it didn't work for
But
her.
it's not working.
Yeah.
All right.
Yours is just frozen.
Resolution, we're on the rest of new business. Resolution number 2042, a resolution by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen in support of a grant application to the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation Local Parks and Recreation Fund Grant. Mr. Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the same grant you voted on January 12th. Then it was the intent to apply. Now we're doing the real application. It requires an assurance of match via a resolution.
Okay.
If you remember, we're using the $800,000 project that we're going to do later this year to build the parking lot to leverage $400,000 of an LPRF grant to build the fourth field at Johnson Lane. This resolution is exactly the way it was presented on January the 12th.
So this isn't any additional match from us, is what you're
No,
saying? Okay.
Before, like I say, it was the intent to apply. This is the actual application.
Yeah. All right. Do we have a motion and a second? Looks like we do. Alderman Byrd, so let's vote. That motion carries 6-1. Resolution 2043, a resolution by the City of Tullahoma to amend the FY26 operating budget. Ms. Wilson.
This is for the Tullahoma City Schools. They amended their budget on January 20th and then sent the recommendation over to us to incorporate it into our budget. This is just using extra funds that they receive from the state actually for the level of performance that our students showed. They received extra funding for that.
Okay. Anybody? Ms. Wilson.
So do you know, I mean, they're using the bulk of it for bonuses, which is good because that's not a recurring thing. So like the money that they get can go toward bonuses, but with the with what they're doing with the like the center, will any of those be ongoing costs that we would then have to keep funding?
It doesn't appear to be. I think these were one-time capital because it was a one-time source of money.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? Not, let's attempt to vote.
I think I'm good now.
7 yes, that one carries. All right. Item number 9 under new business, or item number 26-26, a request from the IT director to approve the funding of $22,866.66 to renew our networking licenses. Go ahead, Mr.
So this request is to fund both the security portion as well as the support for our network equipment.
Okay.
And this is all the equipment that we put in last year,
So these are all existing licenses. We're just renewing them, right?
correct?
Yep. Okay. All right. We have a motion second. Ms. McGee? Did you mean to
Are these?
speak?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know if she
Yeah.
did first. Are these annual licenses or?
Yes, this
They
is
are,
an
okay.
annual license.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you showed me a list earlier today, but can you just kind of describe how many licenses this entails?
Yeah, this is roughly 50 devices throughout the city.
Okay.
That's a good deal.
That's a lot. All right. Is there any other discussion? If not, let's vote. That motion carries 7-0. Next item, under new business, item 26-27, request from the police department to approve the purchase of one 2024 Chevy Equinox from Russell Barnett Winchester for $22,826. Chief Sons had to step out for an emergency, and we don't have anyone else here, I don't think, from the police department, so we'll have to judge this one on our own, guys. Anybody have any comments or questions for I don't know who, maybe Miss Wilson, I don't know.
Well, I was gonna ask if we got insurance money, at all to, I don't know who was the fault of the accident or anything like that, but if there were gonna be insurance money that we would get to replace that, if anybody knew, or?
Yes, this is a replacement for the vehicle that was totaled, and we did get money for it.
We did, okay.
So we may have to put in a little bit more, but most of this is coming from the insurance.
Okay.
Okay, so much is being funded by the insurance recovery, okay. Any other questions? All right, now let's vote. So that motion carries 7-0. Next item, also from the police, a request from the police department to approve the purchase of 4 laptops from Waypoint at the price of $12,553.24, not to exceed a total price of $15,000, funded from THSO grant funds. Ms. Wilson, can you describe what the THSO grant fund is? If you can't, that's okay, because I know Chase is not here.
Well, it's usually a combination of equipment and overtime. They will fund annually.
Yep.
There's overtime that we get quarterly, and this would be an annual equipment.
Adam, can you make a
allocation.
comment about why these laptops cost what they do? I know it looks like a lot, but it's because of the kind of
They're
laptops they have to have.
durable,
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are rugged laptops. They're almost like a rubber coating around them. So if they get dropped, they don't break. They're not as fragile. Our normal desktop laptops, if you were to drop one of those even on the carpet, it would most likely result in damage, possibly a screen that needs to be replaced. These are designed in a way that they're not supposed to crack as easily. Doesn't mean that they won't, but they're a lot sturdier. They can take a lot more abuse.
Yeah. These are the ones that go in the patrol cars, right?
They're going in the patrol cars, and we also use them for anyone that has a position where they go out into the field. So like stormwater, as well as codes when they go out and planning, I think possibly even use them.
Thank you.
That THSO is Tennessee Highway Safety Office
Yeah,
grant.
yeah.
So
Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, let's vote. That motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Let's see, now we're going on to the item 26-30. Request from the fire department to approve the donation of motor BO, I don't know how to say that, radios to Lincoln County EMA Fire to support their operational needs. Do we have somebody from the fire department wants to, do you mind speaking to that just real quickly? Looks like we got 2 items anyway.
These these are moto turbo radios, what we had previously. If you guys remember back, the whole county switched over to TACAN radio system, to P25 system. So when Tullahoma got on board with that, this is our old equipment that we had that the moto turbo or that the TACAN stuff replaced. We reached out to some vendors to see what kind of monetary value we could get if we tried to sell them. And it was very minuscule. It was like less than $1,000 or $1,000 to sell them outright. And during the fire we had in Fayetteville, I don't know if you guys were with the square down there. They don't have TACAN in Lincoln County, so they're using the same system that we did have. And it got brought up in conversation a week later that they were needing some more because that was some issues we had there was communicating with them. So after doing some research with some vendors and deciding that, it'd be better used if we could give them to or donate them to the Lincoln County, and they'll spread them out throughout the county for police, fire, and EMS there. So
Appreciate you
we're
working
just
that out.
asking to do that.
It's a good neighbor there. Any other comments on that one? All right, we have a motion and a second, so let's vote. That motion carries 7-0. And then the next is also a fire department item to approve a donation of the retired washer to the Hickerson Station Volunteer Fire Department to support their operational needs. Go ahead, sir.
This is, I remember at the last budget, we asked to replace this equipment. It's a 18-year-old commercial type washing machine that we use to wash our turnout gear. We received a grant that you guys approved from Gary Sinise Foundation to replace that equipment with brand new stuff at 100%, no cost to the city. We reached out to all the local volunteer departments to see who could possibly use that washer. We reached out to 2 different vendors about possibly selling it, and they said it would be more trouble because it has to be professionally installed, professionally removed, because it's all the components inside are pretty fragile. So we reached out to Hickerson Station, and they've been trying to fund one for a while, and they said they could incur the cost of having it removed and reinstalled at their station, which would help
Good.
them with their funding as well.
Yeah, appreciate that. I know all over the county volunteer stations are always looking for every help they can get, so that's great. Any other comments, questions on that one? If not, let's vote on that. That passes 7-0. Thanks, sir. Item 26-32, requesting the finance director to approve the City of Tullahoma FY27 budget adoption calendar as presented. So we have that in our agenda packet somewhere here. There it is. 164. So I don't know if everybody's got a chance to look at that, but it's coming into budget session time. And we've got right now on this schedule a final approval on June 22nd. That's only 3 months away, so or less than 3 months away at this point. Well, no, right at 3 months. Sorry. So just look at those dates. Some of those are not just on Mondays. Some of them are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll get started on that pretty soon. So we have a motion to approve. We do. Ms. Wilson, you had a comment?
Since it is, the budget season is coming up on us relatively quickly, and just to prepare for the upcoming study sessions that we'll have, I would like to request a personnel summary by department showing position titles and salary comparisons over the past several fiscal years, along with the proposed fiscal year 2027 salaries. And also, I'd like to get an updated organizational chart with salary ranges included on that, just so that we have like a clear understanding of the current departmental structure as we delve into this upcoming budget.
Yeah, I've been having a few conversations with staff about that as well. And I think the other thing we need with that is we need to get a copy of the latest MTAS salary study as well. It would be very helpful to compare those side by side. Yeah, I thought you did, so.
So if we could be provided that to everyone, I think every one of us
I
needs
do.
to have that in
And I think we need to have a
preparation.
study session on it as well. So
Okay.
we'll do that
If,
early this year.
If I may add a comment to Bobby's. I know every year there is something that's given out to every employee. I knew this because when I used to work there, they used to give it to us every year. And it was a list of all the people that work there and a list of what they're making the current year and what they're going to make the next year. And it was comprehensive to all the employees. And I would like to have, to kind of fulfill Ms. Wilson's request, is have those documents provided from fiscal year 23 to fiscal year 27.
To all employees or just to
All
us?
the employees, yeah.
Okay.
It has all that. No.
No, but you
they
meant
give
to
it
us. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But it is made available, it
Yeah,
is.
It's public record.
Yeah, it is made available to them.
2027 salaries won't be on there until.
Until we vote, yeah,
But there'll be a proposed.
Proposed.
Yeah,
If there's a proposed,
projected.
if there's not a proposed.
At this
you can-
point, we won't have it this early.
Right,
So I'd
yeah.
rather get that, I'd rather get our current, I'd rather get it earlier than later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
that
have time
helps.
for have a study session about it. All right. Is that it?
Well, I was going to say in mine, I think the mayor added something.
The MTAS study.
The MTAS study.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on that item about the calendar? So we're voting here to approve the calendar, or the adoption calendar. So let's vote. That's approved 7-0. And then our final item on the regular agenda here is item 26-33, consideration of the appointment of an interim city administrator. I had a couple conversations with past mayors, and I think in the past that they just kind of made a suggestion and it got voted on. I don't have a personal suggestion. I thought we would just, if we want to just make nominations from the floor, does that work for folks, or would you rather do something different?
Well, do we have a list of people that have expressed interest in?
I don't think we
fulfilling
have
the
a
position?
formal list.
Well, I'd like to make a nomination of Jeff Dameron, please.
Okay?
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Ms. Wilson, did you want to say anything else about that?
No.
I mean, to me, this is an interim position, and so hopefully we don't need a really long, drawn-out
Right.
process for it.
Yeah, we just need to get started on
Yeah.
selecting a new
I don't know if this
administrator.
is the time to put some guidelines on it, but I'd certainly like to recommend that we restrict the interim for if they hiring, firing, or increase in pay has to come before the board.
Yeah, I don't know if we have I don't know if we can do that or not. I think it'd be required, and I've thought about that too, don't get
I
me
mean,
wrong,
I'm
but
strong
whether or not it
about that.
requires a policy change or not in our official.
But can we put it in
Huh?
this job description?
Well, they're not actually the city administrator, they're just the interim, right?
Interim.
So, I mean, I would say
Well,
that
we-
we could give advice on,
I'm really concerned about past issues that we've had
Yeah.
with that.
oh, I agree, that's why I'm saying I don't know that they have to follow the exact description, right?
So do we need that to vote tonight?
I think,
Okay,
well,
so we can carry that conversation forward.
We just need.
yeah, let's carry that forward,
To
because
me,
we
the-
need to be real careful with that,
We do.
because
Right.
anything that comes before the board, like firing, that would mean any employee that was getting fired for whatever reason is gonna come to this public meeting of the board to be discussed, and that might not be fair.
My suggestion would be is whoever we appoint tonight, that we first approach them and just say, can we have a gentleman's agreement that, for the time being on that, while we
agree.
work on the actual policy that we need?
Yeah.
So
Can we
does-
get our
acceptable?
attorneys to type up an agreement?
We might be able to do that. We'll see.
Or
We
I'm
can
just
ask,
a-
we
I'm
can always
just
ask them,
asking.
right?
It's only
They can give us advice. All right. Is there any other nominations? Well, if not, let's vote on that one then, and since we've only got one, we'll just vote for that. That's 7-0, so congratulations. Where's he
Yeah,
at?
or
He's in the back
condolence.
somewhere.
Here in the back.
I'm not gonna make you come sit up here because we're about to adjourn anyway, but in any case, congratulations, Mr. Dameron. So that's the end of our regular board, and we don't have a beer board tonight, right? No. Okay, so we're gonna have a study session next, and so we're gonna take just about a 5-minute break here and rearrange some tables, and we're gonna meet down there on the floor, and the mayor is gonna use the restroom.
Me too. You go ahead, I go after you.
You go.
Mayor,